Greetings, everybody. Brett Abdullah here. And one of the things I like to do with the labs is I like to, I'm going to try to do a lot of them from scratch or from where you would have to start. So this will help you out. One of the first things is you're always going to have these lecture files. These are going to provide your labs for you, as you saw in chapter 1. And I've already loaded mine, okay? But I'm going to just show you a few things about the zip file that I want you to pay attention to. First thing is you always want to go to the properties part by right-clicking on the zip file. And I've already checked it, but right here, you're going to see something that says unblock. So you want to unblock the zip file so that it will load everything you need. Okay, we don't have it here, but check that and unblock everything. And then you're going to see the apply button right here and just hit apply and then okay. All right, but I've already done that to save some time. And you can see my directory structure is intact. Remember when you zip a file, let me just go back to that. Let's go back to my student files here. Okay, in the lectures, when you unzip a file, let's go extract all. And again, I'm not going to do this, but one of the things that found helpful is, let me find out where that file is right now. Oh, right here. Just drag it on over, okay? You want to get rid of the last part of this because it will automatically create this folder for you, okay? So it won't hurt that you have the repeating folder, but just more readable when you do it like this. All right. Make it cancel, and I already got my chapters here, my labs here, and we're going to utilize that. So what I want you to do now is, let me bring it on over. What we're going to do is we're going to use this toll chart right here. Okay. Make it a little bit bigger. All right. And we're going to modify this form that is utilizing these this toll chart. All these objects right here are going to be on this form. You know, the one text entry for invoice subtotal. Then we're going to see the discount. We're going to calculate that. We calculate the discount amount, and then we're going to calculate the total. So these are all labels, but they're labels that we're going to use as output. Again, some people will tell you use text boxes and you can make them read only and all that. In my opinion, it's much easier to use a label. And the idea with a label is anything you're not going to physically change on the form can be a label. And then we have 3 buttons, and these 3 buttons are going to have these associated actions when this event happens. So when we click calculate or do an Alt-C or Alt-L and Alt-X, we're going to run the code behind these buttons. And that's what we used to call it, was a code behind. Okay. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to expect you to have your lecture notes open, and I'm going to just walk through Visual Studio with you. Okay. So the first thing we've already done is we've already copied and we've copied the project to chapter 02 folder located in the student lecture project folder. And we're going to now open this. So let's let me get the Visual Studio. And so the way to open this is we would go to this, open a project or a solution. Remember, opening a project or a solution, you can open either or, okay? So we're going to go ahead and just open it where I've located it. So it's open. And we're going to go ahead and find that in our lectures. Actually, I'm going to go over here because that's the one I've already done. I want to start from something new. Go to lecture. Okay. And again, where you put this CIS 130 student is up to you. By default, it wants to go into the source under /repos. Okay. But I placed mine somewhere different. And so right now, what we're going to be opening is we're going to be opening invoice total. And again, you can open either one of these and you should be fine. So I'm going to just do project and hit OK. And Visual Studio will open it up for us. And slowly but surely it will open up. I might have an older version of Visual Studio than you do, so you can ignore this. And then what we're going to do is it should open up the default form. If it doesn't, we're going to do that. And the way we do that is we're going to just double click right here on invoice total. That's the program we're working on. And it should open the form for us. Take some time to load. It's going to load all your toolbox here. And as long as we're in a form, this should be active. When we're not in a form, it won't be active. So let's give it some time to look at that. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a text box to for text subtotal. Okay. And I'm going to go see, it's going to be invoice subtotal. Slowly but surely it's working. All right. So we already got the label for it. Okay. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to drag a text box control onto our screen. So let's go ahead and drag it. Okay. And by default, it's going to be called text box 1. We're going to change that name. Again, you can either list these alphabetically or by category. Okay. So right now, mine's listed alphabetically, although name will be the top property you can change because it's the actual name of the control. So I'm going to type in text box sub. Well, it's lowercase here, but it should be uppercase. I'm going to make it uppercase to follow our standards. Okay. And so we've added that control onto our screen. we'll come back and potentially make some adjustments to that. But now we're going to go to the invoice total, and we're going to add that label to our screen. So we're going to drag a label onto our screen, onto our form. So you just drag it right there, and it's default the label 4. We're going to call it LBL label and invoice total. Okay, and then we're going to switch some of these other properties on there. For example, auto size, we're going to make that false. Okay, and that's how easily you can switch that. The border style, because we're going to use this for output, we're going to make it different. We're going to actually give it a border, and we're going to call it fixed single. Now we just go look at border style right here. Currently doesn't have any labels by default, do not have a border. We're going to call it fixed single. Okay. And then we're going to text align middle center. So let's go all the way down to text align and middle. They'll be coming up. Middle. Give it a few minutes. My computer's pretty slow, it looks like. Yeah, I guess wrong. Middle center. Okay, I guess right. Yours should actually show up. I don't know why mine didn't. Oh well. And then the text we don't want label 4 displaying, so we're going to clear that out, make it an empty string. Okay. And then we're going to select, next we're going to select the label for the discount percent. Okay, right here. And we're going to set the text there to 20%. Okay, so we're going to just put in 20% there. And cool. Make sure all the buttons at the bottom of the page are the same size. So we're going to first click the calculate button because that's the biggest one, and hold down the shift key, and then click the other 2 buttons. Since the first one clicked is going to be calculate, also because it's the largest, we'll start here. Now we got to hold down the shift key and select that and that, and we're going to click the menu item. So for format, go to format right here, and let's make same size. And I'm just looking, and we're going to do that for both the height and the width. Okay. So looks good. All right. Now we're going to lock the controls on the form. This will prevent you from accidentally resizing a control. All right. But before we do that, I want to do something else. Okay. And we may be doing this later on, but just it just bothers me. So let's go ahead and we're going to have to enter the subtotal. We'll probably be coming back to it, but let's select this one, and we're going to actually be coming back to this. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. But let's lock all the controls, okay? And you're going to go to lock controls, and now they're all locked. You can't move them. Can't reshape them. You can programmatically, but yeah. All right, and then we're going to set up an access key for the calculate button and the text control. Okay, so the label, caption, invoice, subtotal need to have an access key within the text property. Okay, so right here, we're going to give it an access key. So we can give text boxes an access key. Okay, and so what we're going to do, text index of the text box control must be one of the invoice subtotal caption label. Okay, so um, so so right there, let's go and change that. And we're looking for the access key. Let me go up. Let's see if I done this. Okay, so the text, the tab index. Okay, so let's try this again. It's all right. We're going to come back to this. I have I will set this at a later time. Okay, so let's just remember to do this. All right. Now let's set the tab order. Okay. Um, the setting the tab order, there's only certain tab places that your cursor is going to rest. So if we run it, it could rest here, here, or here. Okay. I'm just looking once again. Um, okay. So let's go ahead and set the tab order. We're going to click view. Okay, let's find view up here, over here. And we're going to go down to tab order. Okay. So we got view and the tab order menu. Okay. Right there. Okay. Now the big thing is that this one has to be before all of these. Okay. So let's make this uh, 2. Okay. And it'll go ahead and switch everything else. Um, and that's good. So the value of the tab index property will appear for each The first control that you click at the tab index should be set to 0. The next control, 1. The first click of the invoice subtotal caption and then the text box control. Click the remaining labels and orders left. The exit button should be the last control selected. And that's what we have. So you can be good with this. I would probably make this 8 there, and we should be good. Make one. All right. So your labels will never be a tab stop. So you sometimes don't even have to worry about that. All right, 7, 8, 9, 10, and of course. We can even make this 0. 3. Okay. Right. You see what we're doing here. We're good. There. All right. Then we can get out of this by selecting tab order once again. Okay. All right. We can also hit the escape key to escape out of that. So once you're done designing your interface, what we're going to do is we're going to now program our buttons. Okay. So and we've got these from our tool chart, and you can see these are the events that are going to run when you click your toe chart. Okay, so we're going to be done with our form. So right now, what I want to do is, before we're But before we get to this part, we need to, I want to make the form look a little bit better. And we also have to assign the access keys. So we have to assign the access key for this and for this. So we'll start right here. And the way to assign an access key is to put the ampersand right before the key that's going to have that assigned. So in this case, we're going to just make Alt C that for calculate. And then we're going to make I for invoice subtotal. Now, in this case, what it's going to do is going to jump to the next control, which we numbered to be right after that, right? Now, the other thing that we want to do is we want to have all of our boxes to be the same size. So we can do that. Let's select that one, and then holding the shift key down, select that, and let's go to format, and we can make the same size, the height. Okay. Now the width, let's do the width too. Why not? I'll make everything the same size. All right. Well, the first thing is I got to unlock. We got to unlock the controls. And now let's try to do that. Make the same size both. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with the text box. So we're going to select that one first, hold down the shift key, select the text box, format, and make both the same size. Did I make both? Let's try that once again. Make same size, even let's make sure the height, it doesn't like that. So let's do this. Let's make all these the same size as this. Okay. We're going to make it the same height. I just like everything to look the same. All right. So, and we're good. The only thing that we're not good at is these lining up. So again, I'm going to use the middle ones to line these up. I'm going to select that one, and then this, and then this, and we're going to format, align, and we're going to align the lefts. Okay. Now, I think we got a pretty good looking form. Now, let's move on to the coding part of our program. So this is where we're going to write our first code for the system. So let's and if we remember, we have 3 buttons. But first, before we do that, let's talk about comments. It's important for, let me just bring this on over. It's important for you to create comments. Now, there's 2 types of comments. Okay, there's block comments where you can put a bunch of comments in, or there's a line comment. Okay, and so sometimes you just use a line comment, and this can go at the end of your line as well. Sometimes you, at the beginning of a program or maybe a procedure, you might put a block comment. This is important. This helps other programmers to know what you were intending to do. Okay. So anyways, just want to talk about comments. Now we're going to go look at our code. Okay. And let's let me bring this back over here. So we're going to we are on page 13. We're going to go to view. Okay. And we're going to go to code. And this is going to bring up our code for our form. Okay. And what we want to do, so we're going to, first, we're going to create a block comment. So the first thing we need to do is put in a block comment. Now we can put at the very beginning. We could put the block comment at any place in our program. Okay. And then, so we're going to, so above the first using system, we're going to put start our block comment. Whoops. Okay. And it's slash asterisk. And as you notice, everything after this has been set in green, but then we can do that. Now, you can, at this point, I like to line these up, so you can put anything you want in your comment, okay? The other thing is, don't be afraid about using space. Space is always good, helps your program to look better. So after placing that, the instructor will have you insert code from the chapter 2 and 3 code to insert the block commands .cs. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and open that up. So we're going to do file, okay, and we're going to open a file, okay, and we're going to have to go find this, and it's under here. It's right here, and we're going to just open that up, okay, and you can. We're going to just copy, Control C, and then we're going to go over to here and we're going to put that on in, okay? And then you could put your name and today's date. All right, so I'm going to put my name because I am Brett Abdullah. Okay, and today's date for me it is September 3rd. Okay, and you want to put the whole thing in. A lot of times, you may you want to keep everything relatively the same size, and then anytime a user modifies this program, they can add additional comments right here. Okay, and so that's how you put your comments in. Now, I showed you one way to get to the code or the code behind the controls, and we're going to be going over all this in the future. Okay, we're going to be putting code right here. There's a lot of places we're going to have to put code, and this is where you're going to do a whole lot of your programming is in this file, and it's unique, of course, to any form that you're working on. Okay, so but there's another way to get here. Okay, and this is by double clicking the control that you want to code. So we're going to be working on we're going to look at the form designer and double click on the exit button. So right here, we got the exit button. And by the way, let me go ahead and lock my controls in. Okay. Now I'm going to double click here. Watch what happens. It's actually going to create code for you. Okay. And so we're going to call the forms method here whenever this button's clicked. Okay. So um, in this case, what we can leave it blank, but what's going to be what we're going to code in here is we're going to say this, and that just means this, the current form that you're in, and you're going to see a bunch of methods come up for this, which is a form. And if we go down to close, we can select that. And it put it in for us already. So, and that's the cool thing about programming in Visual Studio. It will anticipate what you're going to do. Just to show you, we could have put comments right here or anywhere, but notice how it created a method for you for that object of button EXIT. And it names it, it always is going to try to name it something like this. Okay. Now, it's going to take the most popular method and try to create it for you for that object. Obviously, for buttons, it's going to be the click, but for other things, it might, for example, for a text box, it might be an event on the text box changing. Okay. The other thing to know is you could put comments right there. Okay. Closes the form you are currently in. So wherever that button is, it's going to close that form. We can leave that. It will not run. All right, topic number 5. A text box can be used for input while label can be used for output. How can these controls be cleared? The text property for a label or a text box is a string property. Therefore, there are 2 ways to do this, and we'll use both of them. Another technique exists for text box controls, but not for labels, and that's called the clear method. Okay, so the text box, the text subtotal dot clear. Also, when a form is cleared of data, the user would like the keyboard cursor to be at the start of the form without having to move the keyboard or mouse. This can be done by calling the focus method. And we're going to do both right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to, okay. So, and then we're going to double click. We're going to go back to our designer and we're going to double click on clear. Okay, we've already done exit. But let's double click on clear. Okay. So we want to put one comment in. And we'll just put clear the forms controls, or yeah, it should be fine. And then and so what do we have to clear here? So if we go back to our designer, let's just go in the order that they appear on here. So the invoice subtotal, okay, that the discount percent, okay, and the discount amount and the total, okay. So we have 4 things we're going to clear here when we clear the form, okay. All right, so let's go back to our code behind. So we're going to first start off with the text box, and IntelliSync, of course, finds that. And because it's this, we could do this multiple ways, but we can just do clear And I'm going to just show you multiple ways to do stuff. Oop, my bad. I always know IntelliSync is going to be coming up with that. Okay. All right. So that's one way to clear a text box, but we can't do this for labels. So let's try the different ways here. So let's do the next two labels. Discount amount, dot text. Okay. And we're going to use equals. Oh, whoop, my bad. Okay. And that's actually wrong. So we're going to have to fix that. We have to put double quotes, not single quotes. Okay, there we go. All right. We should get rid of the red line there now. Okay. We'll do the same thing for, I think I like to keep these in order. L, B, L. Yeah, I'm meticulous like that. Makes a difference when you're programming big stuff. Dot text. Oop. Equals. Going to try to guess what I'm putting in here, but we'll just go ahead and put it on in. All right. And then finally, we have to clear out the invoice total. That too is a label. So let's, so we've done the amount, the percent. Now let's do total. Okay. But this time we're going to use this other object and right there, string.empty. So this is actually a property for string. All right, so we've done that. One last thing though we have to do is when we hit the clear button, we want it to be put right back to the text box. So I like to skip a line and then we're going to, we could put a comment in here, but let's type in txt subtotal dot focus. Okay. We're going to finish that off, and this says take this object and do a method of focus on this object. All right. So we're done with that. Now we got to code the calculations. Okay. And we have actually done much of that coding for you. Okay. So let's go ahead and double click on the calculate button. Okay. It's going to create another method or function for us. So let's go ahead and double click on that. And you want to do things this way. This is the best way to do them. Okay. And then we're going to insert, we're going to open up. We've already done the block comments. We don't even need those anymore. But now we're going to open up the calculate.cs file. And we're going to we're going to insert the C# code for calculate. All right, so let's go ahead and open that. And so let's go back to here, and then, and this is the calculate code. And so let's go ahead and bring all this in. Copy, Control C, and then let's go right here and just paste it on there. Okay. Now, I want you to notice one thing. This is red, okay? And that's because I made this a capital T. And for C#, just like with C, all this capitalization matters, okay? So let's just make sure that what did I do? Okay, we're going to work that out, but let's replace this C# with the correct C# C# syntax. Okay, so let's go ahead and replace that with the correct syntax. Okay, so it's going to be up to us to figure out what this is. Okay, so we got all that, and so we corrected the parse. Okay, and now we're going to have to figure out wherever the question marks are. And you can tell the question mark because, well, they have red under them. Okay. So how do we figure out the invoice total? Okay. We're going to do we're going to take the subtotal right here. Okay. We're going to put that right there. Okay. And notice how it spaced it out for us. All right. And then finally, what is that label going to be? It's going to be this. Okay. And it's waiting for us to convert this. Now, before we can put the semicolon, we have to convert this to a string. Okay, and you just like this one here, we can literally copy all that and put it right here. Okay. All right. So looks good. Okay, so this is our first program. The thing you would want to do here is you would want to try to run this. Okay, now you can build it first, and this will tell us if there's any errors. Let's go ahead and build this. You don't have to automatically try to build it when you run invoice total. Okay, and I'm waiting for it to work. And Whenever you see 1 succeed, 0 failed, that's a good thing. Now we can run it. And we can run our different options. You would want to test everything. So you hit the run button up here, okay? And obviously you can stop it. This is how you run the program. All right, so the form came up. I don't know why it says 11 there. So let's go ahead and type in, let's say $70 here. Okay. Then hit calculate. Now, obviously, I would want to say, go over here, but we see that a $70 invoice at a 20% discount to give you $56. So we could clear this. Remember, we can do an Alt L if we wanted to, or we can just click here. Let's try an Alt L. Clears everything, sets the focus back up to here. We can say $40 and then calculate. One of the things that it didn't do here is it didn't re-put the 20% in here. So we would want to go back and fix that. Clear. And the way you would do that is, so let's make sure the exit works. The exit works fine. So you go back to the clear. And here, what you would do is you would put 20% back in. Or you don't even have to clear that, okay? So either or. And notice how we're setting this to 20% decimal. That's what the M stands for. And we could either do it that way, or we could actually comment this out and not clear that. All right. So either or would work. All right. The last thing for this project is we want to get familiar with the options that are available for this project. So go to tools and options. So these are the options that are available for this. Again, this just familiarize yourself with that. You can look under projects and solutions, set that, see all the different options that are available to us. Okay. All right. So that is the first part of the lab. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another variable for the second lab. Okay. So let me stop this variable and stop this video and get it out to you.